Welcome to the Big Fight Weekly. We seem to have lost Stuart along the way. We have our special guest here today, Dave Faulkner.
I'm here, sorry.
He disappeared.
Yo.
Former...
I didn't expect to get introduced that quick, but hi, I'm here.
I sort of got jumped on. I was like, oh, crap.
I wasn't there, unfortunately.
Ran away from me.
Ultimate Fighter alumni Dave Faulkner, actor, pro wrestler as well. Our first guest on Big Fight Weekly. How are you, mate?
Most important one. Pro wrestler.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to get straight into it. It's Carl Frampton retiring. That is going to be the first bit of news this week. I think, it's the best way to start. Absolutely just gutted that he lost that final fight. I think he was going to retire regardless, but he could have been a freeweight world champion. Just did so much stuff. I've read a bit of negativity as you get on the internet, people saying he wasn't that good. Well, I beg to differ. What do you think, lads? What do you think, Dave, about Carl Frampton's career and retirement?
You'll see, I followed it from early doors because I'm very close with the Quigley family as well. I followed young John around to loads of his fights, and Jordan, because I follow a lot of local fighters with the MMA and the boxing, not so much international level, or people abroad. So I've actually seen Carl fight live quite a few times. So I followed him from early doors. And during this fight, though, it looked like he was going in, almost like he was going through the motions. He didn't have that snappiness he normally has, and that vigor. His face looked a little bit different, his emotions are different. And if you retire straight after a fight, it's already something in the back of your mind you're thinking of, so that does affect your performance.
I think just going back through his career, they built up the stadium at the Titanic area in Belfast. We had some big nights. Kiko Martinez, he boxed him twice, beat him twice. Looking through his career, he did fight all the best guys. Leo Santa Cruz over in America twice, won one, lost one. I just think, he went out on his shield, I'd say. But I just think we knew last week, speaking about it, we thought the reach advantage for Herring would be a factor, didn't we, Chris?
Really, it was quite telling in the fight, though, wasn't it? When he stayed on the outside and utilised, the whole outside where Frampton couldn't get in.
He was building. He was getting a bit of success. Sorry, Dave.
No, it's all right. No, he's normally that busy, though. His work rate's normally that busy. I've seen him. It's negated people's reach before. So, but again, it's when you're in that certain mind frame. Like if he was thinking, I could retire, I could not. It just kills that steam, and you need that steam, and you need that vigor. It's the same like when Tyson, based on his height, he couldn't get past people's physicalities once he lost that fire.
It's crazy. Like with Tyson, different beast. But yeah, I think just with Carl as well. MBE as well. He's got that. He's done so much for Irish boxing, but also, he did say in the post fight about, he wants to see his family, his kids, all them big camps he's done at world level. So you can see that side, can't you, as well? But, he said he probably had one of the best camps he's ever had leading into the fight with Jamie Moore. I know Jamie Moore's had him for the last few fights, but I think he did fantastic for British boxing, and he got to the world level. And, prior to that, the Commonwealth titles, he built up to that amateur. So, yeah, I think it's just a shame. But I think we can move on now to Conor Benn taking on Samuel Vargas this coming weekend. What we thinking on that one, Dave?
Nigel. I think this is a bold statement. I really think Conor Benn is like the evolution of his pops. I think he's got them extra bits. That's going to take him somewhere else. I mean, how far do you go past WBC? You don't. But he's got this wide stance. I know people have given it a bit of jib in the past, but it really does help, especially if you're a power puncher. And again, if someone's got a longer reach, like we were talking about before, with this longer gait in your step, you can usually negate someone's reach, and he's just got that absolute it's like every time he throws a punch, it's like it's empowered with sheer hatred for his opponent. It's fantastic to watch.
Can you see him getting world honours, Dave? Do you think he's good enough to get to the world title?
Because here's what he's got. He's still got them like the genetics of his dad. He's still got them same. He's got that like I said, each shot looks like it wants to kill you. Like each singular punch looks like that, and even when his dad was written off, he was still doing. Like, I know it's sad what happened to Gerald McLennan, but it's like he was written out of that fight, and when you've got that, like them genetics, them killer punches, anything can happen. But just based on his skill alone, I think he will. I know a lot of people call him a glorified. I mean, I'm quoting now, like a glorified brawler, but he's definitely a lot more than that.
Good to get a fighter's point of view. You see it more so than me and Chris being fans. It's good to get that. I think he can go all the way. I really do. But then on the flip side of this, Amir Khan's called him out allegedly. Let him have the fight first. I think it's the link that Amir Khan's already fought Samuel Vargas. But I think Amir Khan's too past the post. I think Connor's the younger guy. I think he'll beat him as well. He'll blast Khan. He'll blast Khan surely, Chris.
He hasn't got a chin anymore, though, has he, Con?
No, he never had the chin, did he? That's what they all say across the board. But yeah, I think he's got to have this step up in competition. He's gone. He's had the British fighters and he's had the British lads, and that it's his time now. They've got to start stepping it up. But it'll do good money if he does fight Khan off the back of this. If he comes through it. I mean, it's a money game, isn't it, at the end of the day? But yeah. That's it. I do think
the timing's perfect on it, though. The timing for this fight is perfect. I think the only way, I mean, Vargas was great, and the only way I think he'll beat him is if it went the distance, and again, just through his ring craft and that he is. But I can't see it. I think the timing's just right for Conor Benn.
Do you think Eddie Hearn's the right promoter, Dave, for him?
I don't even know. I mean, they're all good. If you know a promoter's name, you know they can do the job. I think it just depends on what personalities mix. So I can't really give a good estimate on stuff like that because, again, you see people working together you'd never thought would work together in a million years, but it does. So you just got to wait and see. I really couldn't even give you a rhetorical on that.
Are we going to go with? Are we going with Conor Benn for the win then across the board on this one?
I am.
Yeah,
but I think it's good. It'll be I feel he'll win. If he does stop Vargas, I still think that'll be quite a surprise. I think it'll go the distance.
Chris.
I don't know because Vargas has got experience on Ben, hasn't he? I know Ben's got his knockout capabilities, hasn't he? And I mean, it could be a case where Ben could punch himself out halfway through, say, the rounds, and Vargas could take over, use the experience. I go because obviously we're biased here, aren't we? So we'll go for our UK guys. So yeah, I'll go with Ben as well.
I'm surprised they're not like doing it. Maybe using Gibraltar, again, just to get 500 fans in, like we had the other week. That's been the thing. I know they're starting to do it in America, whereby you're getting full attendances. You need it'd be great to have fans in. I know we're not going to have fans in for this fight. That's just the one thing for me that's missing. If he has the fans behind him at home.
Yeah. It's just it's affecting everything. It's affecting all sports. I mean, I'd only want to bring football into it, but it's like affecting all sports. It's crowds not being there. It goes to show how important, yeah.
I think it's perfect now to segue into UFC Fight Night this coming weekend. Marvin Vettori was obviously meant to be fighting Darren Till, who's got a collarbone injury. Kevin Holland has come in. He's come in. He's stepping into the breach. He only fought 2-3 weeks ago, Chris.
He did against Derek Brunson.
And Kevin Holland was your tip, wasn't he? He was one of your ones to watch as well. So, yeah, your thoughts on this, Chris?
Tough fight. Really tough fight, especially on short notice for Kevin Holland. I don't know if you've watched much of Vettori, but he's a solid grappler. And he's got solid base as well. I think he could really trouble Holland in this, especially with the ground game aspect. If you saw with Kevin Holland against Derek Brunson, it's one of them, wasn't it, where I didn't know if Kevin Holland was struggling with the wrestling side or just didn't seem to be very interested in the fight. rather than have a chinwag with Khabib on the side. You know what I mean? I know they call him Big Mouth, and I hope he carries on in his fights, and has a chat with him during the fight as he does. But Vettori is, really tough, for someone to fight on short notice. And props to Kevin Holland to keeping the card alive, and jumping on the chance to get back on the bandwagon, because he surely needs it after the performance against Derek Brunson. I just think this might be just a bit of a jump too far for him, because Vettori, as I said, is a solid fighter.
He's on a 4-fight win streak, Vettori.
Yeah, and he made Jack Harrison, and he made him look like nothing. And Jack Harrison beat Calvin Gastelum by a heel hook, which is Dave will know was one of his favourite moves, wasn't it, back in the day?
One of them.
But yeah, he beat Calvin Gastelum, Jack Harrison, with a heel hook. But Vettori made him look like it was nothing. But he's, like I said, he's on the rise as Vettori, and it would have been a really good matchup for Darren Till. Obviously, if Darren Till didn't have that injury to his collarbone. But all props. Like I'm still hoping that Kevin Holland can showcase his skills this weekend and get back on that winning column.
To take it, and he's only 4. There's a 3-week differential where he's had his last fight. And he's coming in to fill in for Darren Till. What do you think with that, Dave? That he's come in after fighting someone 3 weeks prior. A fighter's standpoint with this coming in to step into the breach.
It's great. Because I mean, when I first started, like early 2000s, when it was just a boxing ring, you'd get called like a few days before, and I think at one time I had 3 on the bounce. I know that was a different level. That's when I was starting out, but we had like 3 fights, like every other Sunday. It was like 3 weeks, 3 fights, and you can do it if you're not one of these fighters who only trains in camps. You can do that if you're constantly ticking over. It's not. I know people from a fan point make a bigger deal about it, but again, think about the money he's getting. That's another motivator. Think about the chance that he might have spotted something in this fighter that he might think that he could expose. Because I actually think the Holland is a bit more. He's a bit. He's nowhere near as physically dominant. I can safely say that Vettori's a lot stronger. But again, Holland's a bit more sprightly on the feet. It'll be a bit harder to take him down. And he attacks well off that back foot. He springs in and changes it to an attack all of a sudden. And Vettori does, even though he attacks, I think he attacks a bit too much on the feet because he's wide open. As soon as he finishes striking, he always tends to eat shots. I know he's got a head like a boulder and a neck to match it, but again, this is why I'm hoping Vettori wins it. Because I feel positive that Darren Till will absolutely light him up on the feet. And Darren's, listen, they look like totally different physical specimens, but Darren's a strong man. Do you know what I mean? He's a strong man. Vettori will find it hard dealing with him like he's dealt with other people.
Just feel for Till, don't you? He's trying to make waves in the middleweight division coming up from welter. It's just such a shame this collarbone injury so close to the fight. Just wonder what's going through his mind.
Yeah, because he was literally as well. That's the worst. It's not like he had a gym war either. He was training with Mike Grundy, so he had just doing drills, probably specific ones to fight him, and that's how he's done it. Nothing crazy, no crazy stories, but he hasn't trained and he's walking around with a sling at the minute. So.
Vettori's won me over. Just to go back to Vettori, he said he'll fight Jake Paul. I was rubbing my hands. Yes. I hate this white collar nonsense, Dave. Chris, we have the guy that we every week about Logan Paul.
Can I just jump in with it? Here's what you should do with the Paul, right? And I will shut up on it then, because I don't want to give them any more exposure than they've already got, because they don't deserve it. They should get everyone they challenged. Absolutely everyone they challenged. They should get them all on the one night, and they've got to fight them all back to back. That'd be fantastic.
Could we do it under Pride rules?
Be
more interesting.
Absolutely, yeah.
He called Nate Diaz out next after Ben Askren, and I'm like, give it a break, kid. Give it a break.
I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. It's just like, it's ridiculous. There's proper legit fighters out there, and it's just, I can't believe Eddie Hearn booked it last year for the boxing. It's an absolute nonsense. It's an absolute. I know it's money, but it's like me going in there. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Can you sell a fight, Stuart? Because you can. You can
probably.
get in there.
I'd run my mouth a bit. That'd be about the best I could do, and then run out the cage.
Just chase them around. You might tire them out.
That's it. But yeah, just I think we can segue now into Arnold Allen and Sadiq Youssef. You picked that one out, Chris. Great talent from the UK. Arnold Allen doing fantastic. Sadiq Youssef, me personally, I hadn't heard much about Sadiq Youssef. So what have you got for us on that one? Is it going to be tricky for Arnold? Is it his toughest test to date?
No, I wouldn't say it's his toughest date. His toughest fight to date. The thing is with Youssef is he's technically very good with his kicks and his punches. But see, what I've been watching a lot today is he tends to in the smaller pockets keeps going for the overhand over the top. Where I think if you watch a lot of Arnold Allen's fights, when he's in the pocket, he does a lot of good straight jabs and gets out the way, moves very quickly inside the pocket, which I think in that part there in the fight, I think he can win that quite easily. Obviously, he can get caught and anyone can get caught. It can happen. But no, I think he can control this fight quite well and quite easily, to be fair, and then take a good unanimous decision win and then spear him up again.
Who off the back of a win, we obviously want him to win. He's the UK guy. Where does he then go in terms of who's next? Who'd be a viable opponent for him then?
For him, I'd probably say Josh Emmett hasn't got a dancing partner at the moment, and he's free. If he can get a good quick turnaround, if he doesn't take any bad shots or injuries, get any injuries during the fight, that'd be a good fight. Or he could wait for Cub Swanson, who's just above him in the rankings. And there'd be another name to take off his list, and people can put more eyes on him.
I forget about Cub Swanson because he's been around so long. But yeah, be a good fight. How about you, Dave? Have you heard much about Arnold Allen?
Well, listen, on this weight division and these two fighters, like I say, I haven't been following it too much. I don't know enough on these two fighters to even give it a critique or an analysis on the fight. I just couldn't do it. I don't know enough. Again, it's like I said, I just follow like fighters I know. Do you know what I mean? A lot of fighters I know, and I follow the boxing a lot more now. So I'm sorry, I'm out on that one. I couldn't even give you anything on that.
Youssef fought Andre Winner before he came into the UFC. Just thought I'd put that in there for you. Yeah.
Oh, I love Andre. Andre is a fantastic guy. Well, do you know what? Once we finish, I'm gonna have a look at that fight.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Arnold, to go back to Arnold Allen, as we've said in previous episodes, Chris, he's well versed, isn't he? I know they all are these days. They've got to be. But, I'd like to think, I've not heard much on Sadiq Youssef, but I'd like to think Arnold can get the W.
They both got the same, I think they're both 12-0. So I think Arnold Allen's had the harder caliber of fighters going up the rankings than Youssef has. And I think Youssef's been rocked a few times as well. I don't think I've seen Allen rocked at all. And, he's over at TriStar as well. So, he's getting a good base of wrestling in there as well.
That's cool, man. That's cool. I think now we'll head into the bantamweight bout. It's Hunter Azor versus a fellow Welshman, Jack Shaw, who is 12-0 himself. Jack Shaw back on the cards they're in Vegas, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they're still in Vegas, aren't they? Yeah. So what you're thinking as a preview for Shaw this weekend, mate?
I don't know if you know a lot about Azor as well, but Azor's a really, really talented wrestler, and he's got a hell of a good wrestling background. So when I saw the matchup, they were put together, I was a bit worried for Jack Shaw because as we all know, UK fighters don't have the greatest wrestling base, do they? When it comes up against a good wrestler. But I think if you watch,
they tend not to. There's people. It's like for years. I mean, I was lucky because I was always, especially in the Wolf's Lair as well. They had like Gerald Harris and stuff coming over, like Division 1 wrestlers. Yeah. And I'd wrestled since I was a kid, so it was never an issue. I think that's what shocked a lot of people. But again, with this fight, I think the difference is when you look at the two fighters. Like Azor looks like you can see the confidence booming through it, but I've just got this belief in Shaw to do it. It's that again. It might just be it's rooting for the hometown well, the home country guy, but he's just it's just that. I think there's that thing. I can sense it. It's like he wants it more without sounding cheesy, but it's I've just got a good feeling about him. But you can see the difference, like you said. It was what you go, oh, it's a bit heavy that when it first got announced. But I definitely I don't know. I think it's going to be a bit more exciting than people think. And
I definitely think I do.
Yeah,
I think for
absolutely.
Jack Short though, he's got to do what he does best. And I've watched, since he's come from Cage Warriors to UFC, he's very good at taking people up against the cage, using the dirty boxing, and then bringing him down from there with a single or double leg there. I don't think he's going to double leg take down Azor in the middle of the octagon, but I think if he can take him up against the cage, beat him up a bit there, I think he'd have a lot of joy there.
When you've got someone, it's like people like Lee Chadwick have found great success in that, because it doesn't matter if someone's better with the on the ground, or better wrestler, better boxer. If you get them up against the fence, it's a game changer. Everything becomes negated, and if you can do that, and I think that is the key to winning it. And I think that rough edge, and again, it's like where British fighters, as you say, generally lack in certain areas. They don't lack with that grittiness. So I think that's what's going to clinch it.
I think fingers crossed he wins. Fingers crossed he wins.
I've got to go for Mr. Shaw being from North Wales. He's got. I tell you what, we've had some Welshmen coming through. I never thought I'd see the day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of lads from Wales. It's brilliant. Yeah. It's good. I look forward to that one, boys.
Well, I was very close to actually wrestling the Commonwealth Games for Wales when I was about, I think it was around 18, 19, and it was all home pride. I'm not wrestling for anyone else if it's not England. And I'm gutted, because actually I'd move to Wales in a heartbeat now.
Was that? Have you got Welsh family, or was it just you could do that? Was that?
No, I just love it. I mean, because it.
Dave's been frozen.
We had Dave mid-sentence there.
He's frozen.
There we go.
He's back.
You're mid-sentence. Yep. You're mid-sentence, Dave.
Sorry. No, it's like I started everything that's ever good's happened to me. I mean, I fought a few times in Wales. It was good. All my holidays as a child were good. I've got good memories. So my pro wrestling career started in Wales. It was just fantastic. I just love it.
I think it's perfect now. We had the announcement, Chris, you wanted to cover this as well. The Ultimate Fighter, the coaches were announced for the next season. It will be Volkanovski and Ortega. What weights are on it this season?
Bantamweight and middleweights.
Anybody to look out for?
They haven't. I think they're only starting to film this week or next week. So usually in a couple of weeks' time, you'll start getting the fighters that they've obviously picked to come onto the show. So I couldn't tell you now until obviously I see the names.
So I was gutted when the fight got called off. Do you know what I mean? But now they've obviously gone to do this and having them as coaches. Be interesting.
It'd be a better build-up. It's always a better build-up when it's the two coaches, and that animosity will be there. It makes a good show. And I can't wait for them to do a returns one again. I would absolutely love that.
You're going to get on it?
Like the way they used to.
You're going to get on it, Dave?
When I first done it, I had no interest in doing it. I was in 2 court cases at the time. I should have been home. I should have been in court. But I'd love them to do it again. It'd be fantastic.
I want to see a suplex off the diving board again, Dave.
Absolutely. It'll be like I'd have to do a German or something after a German suplex or a doomsday device this time.
Going into this, obviously, I know the fight. Whenever they announce the fight to be, are we saying Volkanovski to beat Ortega? I know Ortega's well versed, but what are your thoughts when these two lock horns officially?
Yeah.
You go, Dave. I was going to say before. Go on, you go.
No, it's just it's just It's hard. I think it's very with current UFC. It's the reason why I've come out of it. There's no characters anymore per se, and everyone seems everyone seems physically very similar and stuff now. There's only the odd few that stand out. So that's why again I'm a little bit lost when it comes to predicting winners of fights. Apart from like earlier with Holland, I think I can pick that. You can differentiate, but everyone seems very similar now. They all train the same, fight the same. It's a bit. So that's what made me lose my interest in it in the current product.
You said, Chris, they could have gone with two different people for this. I remember you saying, prior, who would you have gone with again? Just jog me memory back.
Well, there was two, both included Masvidal. It was either Kobe Covington and Masvidal or Usman Masvidal, but obviously they pulled the audible, didn't they, and pulled forward, sorry, the Usman Masvidal for their first ever, fans back fighting at the end of this month, haven't they? So I think more people would have been more interested in that. Dave will obviously know more because he was on the show. He knows what it's like. But as people watching the show, I think for what I've read, like recently, more people are a bit more sort of pissed off because they rather coaches with a bit of personality, where they don't think Ortega and Volkanovski have a personality. They're like, look at the likes of, say, Bisping and Henderson when they were there, and Rampage and Rashad Evans, Tito Cancelo.
Vanderlei and Sonnen, like, they hate each other.
Yeah, people tune in not just for the fighters. It's a bonus with the fighters, but they tune in to see the shit talk and all that. Look at TJ Dillashaw and what's his name? Just completely brain farted out of my head now.
Cody Garbrandt.
That's it. Yeah, they were at each other's. I think.
At the end of the day, it is a. I mean, the professional fights now on the show, aren't they?
Yeah,
are they professional fights? Because they used to be exhibition bouts.
No, actually, I think it's still exhibition fights. I think it's only when you get to the actual finale, it's an actual fight then.
Yeah.
What because you thought on that, Dave?
Yeah, but what with regards to like what they should have as in coaches, should
they go professional with it?
No, because it's no. The reason why the Imam's a prime example of it, because if people, if you, it's like me and the guy I was going to fight on it, Jason, we both had a heavy staph infection, and it was that bad. Like we both had, I think he had it in his left leg and I had it in me right. It was just it's strange. Now we wouldn't have been allowed to fight a professional fight under the UFC. It just wouldn't be covered. We couldn't do it. Now it's an exhibition bout. You can do what you want. You can fight with no leg. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's just, it literally is so that you have got a show. That's why they have them as exhibition bouts, because if someone can't fight for the UFC for a certain reason, it's the exhibition bout. They can do what they want. But and again, because it's a TV show, they should always pick. Again, maybe if not just an upcoming fight to pick the coaches, but two people with very interesting or contrasting personalities for entertainment value.
Did you get your staph infection from a sledgehammer when you were hitting the tire on the show?
No, I love it. It's I clipped my shin, and you don't see me clip my shin on the TV, so that's why. They did actually video it. That's why they made a big deal about it, because it was, to be honest, it was non-eventful at the beginning. And I literally only clipped it. It was the day after it swelled up. But before my fight to get in the house, I had no skin on my right foot, because I'm left-footed, and I was skip kicking a bag for like an hour, because I got given 5 days notice to be on the Ultimate Fighter. So I thought, oh God, so I'm kicking this bag away. Time's just getting lost. And then when I stopped, I had a blister on my foot, and it was only Wednesday, and I was fighting Saturday. So I just cut the blister off my foot and left it hang out the window just to dry it overnight. Now, the minute we got to America, they let us use the mat. We were in a hotel in England for a few days. Then we were in a hotel in Las Vegas for a week or 2 weeks, but they let us use the gym. Now, the gym still hadn't been cleaned from the last season, So that's when I was on the mat with that foot exposed. I think that's where I got it.
That's crazy. Why was it not cleaned? It's what I mean. That's mental.
I mean, there was stuff I'd seen in the show before that was like thrown or left out, still out. It's literally because that's all it's used for. Gets used. We weren't meant to get it. They let us in just because we were going stir crazy. We were begging for it, so it's our fault. They let us in, and I pay for it.
they made it on the show. Obviously, because I rewatched it on Friday. I watched it all on Friday just to sort of get a refresh. And they made out like you did it with a sledgehammer. And Michael Bisping's like, he's done what? And then it cuts to yourself.
Yeah.
Like.
No, that's what it is. It's just like, that's what he was saying. No, because I thought I'd actually clip me leg harder. Because how stuff works, I've clipped my shin. The infection's in that leg. And where any blood is, the infection localizes there. So it just started growing and growing. It started eating away at my shin bone. So there was a bit of my shin bone like getting thinner and thinner. It was weird. But so that's what we thought it was. And that was only for one day. We got tested that night. Then we had staph. So then it was, 4 people had staph on the show at once. And it was very close for the whole show to get closed down. But then they brought in this ginger girl who was like a life coach. And she was, she told us to use PMA, positive mental attitude. And she said, and I'll quote, she said, if you tell yourself you ain't got staph, then you ain't got staph. And two of the American kids, get on this though, 2 of the American guys who had staph, who were going, yeah, I totally believe that, man. I totally believe it. They actually didn't have staph after 4 days or something. So it must work. Yeah.
What were you thinking when she's telling you that, though? You know what I mean?
I was like, I didn't want to be there anyway because I had other things to do, and just thought, I'm going to jump over that wall and just I'm just going to busk in the Las Vegas and then stow away on a boat just to get home. I thought, I can't deal with this shit. And that was only a few days in. It was just like, oh my God. It was unreal.
I think in closing, we're going to speak about the announcement that Leon Edwards and Nate Diaz will be fighting at welterweight at UFC 262. Chris, what your thoughts on this one?
Just a quick one, Dave, before I go into... But weren't you meant to fight Leon Edwards like Bama once? Yeah.
Well, check this out as well for a shitstorm. He was getting about £900 for the fight, and he was giving me £1,500, and they were actually giving me as a stepping stone to lead up to something else. And he said something very derogatory about me in an interview, and I phoned his gym and told him I'd turn up and do him in on the mat. So and ask his coach about that. Because again, listen, professional fighting's one thing, but loads of professional fighters can't have a fight in the street. And that's the difference. He'd never met me. He said something derogatory about me. Mentioned the Ultimate Fighter as well. I thought there's no need for that. So I phoned his gym and went, I'm going to come down to you in. But I didn't speak to him. I spoke to the coach who was there. And whoever it was, he was a very nice guy. And talked all the beef down. But yeah, I was meant to. But I'll give a shout out. There was oh no, I won't. He gets embarrassed. I was training with the Thai partner, and we were doing this, basically being a bit macho. We were kicking the pad. He holds the pad on his leg. We were kicking it. Let's see who gives in first. But when I kicked with my left leg, I actually cracked the bone in my shin, and the bone ended up getting infected as well. So I was out. I was out of that fight. I'm absolutely sick now because I would have loved to have. I would love to have humbled him, shall we say?
Well, what are your thoughts on him now? Is obviously prior to Bama now.
Oh well, he's listen. I'm not a fan of all the negative fights in the world, because at the end of the day, without sounding like a cheeseball, kids look up to these people and emulate them. And I've seen it. I've seen kids talking to me and talking to other kids the way they talk to other fighters, and they think that's how you're meant to make it. And he's just, honestly, there's no need for it. He does. He's like a naughty kid who never got a slap. He needs doing it, and even where he's got skills, I'm never going to admit them, because he needs humbling.
Masvidal. Masvidal, give it a good go backstage, Dave.
Free piece in the soda. Yeah,
I'd love that.
Well, you're not going to let my breakdown in, are you?
No,
you're not going to like this.
I don't know.
Well, obviously, as you know, it was the first ever co-main non-title 5-round fight. I'm assuming Nate Diaz has pushed for a 5-round fight because I don't think a 3-round fight against Edwards would do him very well, to be honest with you, because he's quite a slow starter, Diaz, isn't he? He needs to pick his part and then take over. For myself, I think that Edwards is probably too much for Nate Diaz. Just watching enough of Leon Edwards.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I do. I see it. I don't even know why Diaz is still there, because I mean, it was a few years back. He was like a gatekeeper, wasn't he? A few years back, and he just keeps turning up again. But the thing with this mouth, people just love these like down and out characters. I don't get it. I don't get it. They should bring back like the Randy Couture's and all that, and like the great American heroes and stuff. They need to promote that. And I don't know if it's true. I don't know if UFC have sold, but I hope if they have, hope this new company just gets rid of them type of like the negative neckheads, I call them. Gets rid of them and just brings in some. Because kids watch this, do you know what I mean? Kids watch it. So get rid of the bums, you know what I mean? Get rid of them.
It's going to be in a full capacity Houston, isn't it? As well as they're obviously doing the first card in Jacksonville. Somebody's got to, I like you said, Chris, I don't blame Dana. Somebody's going to have to start running full arenas.
Yeah, someone had to pull the trigger on it, didn't they?
I'm surprised it wasn't WWE. I'm surprised it wasn't WWE. You know, they've ran right the way through, haven't they? They've introduced people into the crowd. But Dana, I know people have been giving off about it. Why is he having a full arena? You know, people need vaccinating still, second vaccinations. But someone's got to do it. He's pulled the trigger on it, hasn't he?
And so he should. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, once he goes, everyone else will start following and everyone will forget that they even kicked off about it. And it never happened then.
And they're in a full-size octagon once they get out of the Performance Centre. Don't forget, it's a reduced-size octagon, wasn't it? At the Performance Centre and at the Vegas place. So I think that's been a factor as well in fights.
Going back to Nate Diaz and Leon. Hey?
It'd be fantastic that seeing the crowd again. That will be fantastic.
The prices have been expensive though. They're still like, what's it, almost £1,000 for a nosebleed ticket as well. Well, £1,000 in our money. We
couldn't get in anyway, but still, it's ridiculous. This resale of tickets. Just get photo recognition on these tickets. I know they say about it for concerts and stuff like that. It's ridiculous. It's just they can sort it out. They got the technology now. It's just like you're paying 2-3 times what the face value is, and it's pathetic. Pathetic.
Well, we'll go back to Edwards and Diaz. I didn't realise this, but I don't know if you did as well yourselves. You know, Nate Diaz's last couple of fights was Masvidal and Conor McGregor twice, isn't it? He hasn't fought anyone who's a proper welterweight since Rory McDonald. And I just thought that's quite interesting, really, because Leon Edwards is a proper welterweight. I know, you know, a strong welterweight and that. So I just don't see Diaz being Diaz in this. I think he's going to be chewed up pretty much by Leon Edwards. The speed of Leon Edwards, the leg kicks, because obviously everyone knows the leg kick Diaz's, and they don't seem to respond well to them, do they? I just think he can rough him up. I think Edwards can take him down and not worry about the jiu-jitsu game of Diaz and beat him up there as well. It's those elbows off the clinch as well that Edwards does really well.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, without any other animosity, it's just as soon as I seen it announced, I just thought Edwards would go through him anyway. I think they actually are. I think they're bringing Diaz in as he was originally established a few years back as a kind of a gatekeeper, and because of the people he's fought as well. I think they're putting some stock in Edwards now, so I think by beating him, they can put him on the level of other people now. So
I think he'll get and I think either one of these two gets the title shot. After this,
is it with Diaz? Is it because is Edwards looking at it? I'll make more money. You know, Diaz brings the cash in. Diaz, I looked at it like that because I was just shocked that they announced this fight. Truth be told,
it came out the blue, didn't it?
Yeah,
I thought Diaz, they had a plan for Diaz. He said it months ago, didn't he, Dana? I wasn't seeing it was Edwards. I thought they'd probably wait again for Masvidal or do another Conor McGregor. I seen them two on Twitter the other night were giving each other shit. I don't know if you saw it yourself. I sent Stuart pictures of it, but obviously that's going to happen. Them two will fight again. That's a shoo-in. But I thought they had something else for Diaz. I think this is a big drop for Diaz to come in and fight someone like Leon Edwards. I just think it's a bit too much for him. But you never know with Diaz. He could tire out Edwards and do what he does best, in the later rounds. He has a cardio machine, isn't he? And, his chin's like a granite, isn't it? And he can take a lot of punches. I don't know. I think either one gets a title shot, though.
Where's that gobshite Colby Covington? Where is Colby Covington? Where is he? It's like he's making out. He's gone into hiding after Usman taught him a lesson. He's a gobshite. Like where is he?
He did come out Stuart. He fought Tyler Woodley last year, mate.
Yeah, but it's just like, where is he now? These are the fights that Edwards should be. Give him Covington or somebody.
He was offered Stephen Thompson. Obviously, Stephen Thompson and Gilbert Burns has just been announced the last couple of days. He was offered the Stephen Thompson and the Gilbert Burns fight, which he had a choice between the pair of them. Turned it down. Now, obviously, them two have been matched up, which is a good fight for the pair of them and good for Stephen Thompson because obviously he needs to, start getting himself back up the pecking order because I think they forget about Stephen Thompson a lot. You know what I mean? I think he should be there because he's won a decent amount of fights. He beat Vicente Luque, who beat Tyron Woodley last weekend in a great fashion. So, I think the problem is with the welterweight division is, I don't know what you guys think as well, is I think a lot of them are like holding on to their ranking number and not letting go and not taking a fight, just literally holding hostage their ranking number.
It's only going to happen so long. It's only going to happen so long, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Some people, though, will fight anyone. I mean, I think that's throw a fox among the chickens with stuff like that. Just get Dan to call people out. Dan will call people out and fight anyone. Yeah. So just get into it. That's why he's a great asset to UFC because he'll just it's the realism of it is brought to the table by him. So just how him are all the people who want to hold on to it, because he's not fearful, is he? And that's not just because of Owen, by the way.
No. Of course.
I'd say that he didn't.
Look who he's fought. Even at welterweight, he's fought top guys right the way through, and he's in the best place in the world to do it. So yeah, absolutely, doesn't shirk anyone, does he?
I just don't think welterweight was Darren Till's division, really. I think his body frame is more 185. I would have thought.
But I mean, prior to that, there was talk of Anfield, wasn't there, and everything. Imagine if he could get him in Anfield, No, I know we're
Bramley Moore.
I know we're Evertonians. He's a red, though, isn't he? But they were talking about that, weren't they? Not so long ago about Dana White was looking at Anfield for him, but yeah, he
won't need to, Stuart. Bramley Moore will be built in a few years, and then they can go there. That'll be the stadium to go to then.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. Going forward, I think now will be the perfect time to go to break. When we come back, we'll be speaking to Dave Faulkner about his career. Just some random questions as well, Dave, for you when we come back after this.
Powered 4 TV, the revolutionary force in sports streaming entertainment. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the 37th annual WWE WrestleMania! To celebrate the biggest show of the wrestling calendar, Powered 4 brings you a week of shows only on Powered 4 TV, Facebook, and YouTube. It's WrestleMania!
Loads of exclusive shows for WrestleMania week. Yeah, that is Mike Mad Dog Angus trying to do the dulcet tones of Vince McMahon.
I didn't even know it.
That's Mike. I was like you when I first heard that. I'm like, Mike's done it. But yeah, all sorts of content, WrestleMania stuff, previews, reviews, and we've done a crossover event that we recorded last week with wrestling and MMA. So we're talking about Dan Severn, Ken Shamrock, all those guys. Brock going into UFC, and that's coming up on Friday evening at 7 p.m. So look out for that. Right, Mr. Dave Faulkner. It's time for some
By the way,
questions. Chris has got loads of questions. I've got some too, Chris.
Well, I'm going to obviously go start from Ultimate Fighter because obviously that's where I got to know you and obviously see you as a fighter. I want to ask you about the skill sets on the show because obviously I've rewatched it again on Friday and obviously UK out completely won the show. Did you feel like as the UK representative for our side against the USA that you lot were the better fighters in the house?
Yeah, it seemed at the time. If you look at, British fighters didn't know. They didn't know James Wilkes. We met him there because James lived in California, but he was having he had a decent record there. Nico Sipchak. I don't know if they brought him in based on personality originally because he fought that other guy. The guy he fought to get in the house. Like again, I think he was brought in for entertainment value. I'm not too sure about that because I didn't know much about them beforehand. I mean, Nick had trained with us a little bit, but everybody else, because Che Mills was fought James Wilkes, didn't he? So all them, everyone else, and again, I was still, I'd say, it was a relatively unknown commodity. I was more like a training partner for all the lads in the Wolf's Lair most of the time. But the rest of them were the top end UK fighters, even including the opponents in the first round. Some of the fights were fantastic, and it was literally it could have went anyway with most of the fights to actually get in the house. But that's the difference, I think, with the American ones. I mean, some of them were good, and I don't mean them any disrespect, but because they had so many shows with Americans already in it, I think they were not. It sounds terrible, but it sounds like they were scraping the barrel a little bit. So, like, let's see what we've got left. So, I think that's. I think we went in with that advantage because of that.
Also, like having Alex Reid about. I forgot all about him, and then I rewatched it again. And I remember my missus used to watch something with him on the TV show. with Jordan. Yeah,
Katie Price.
She goes to me because she never watched it. So she was like, well, "Why is he there?"
I was a kid. I was a kid, and he was on Gladiators, the original Gladiators. I don't know if you know about that. I was like, he's got to be lying about his age or something. I don't know, but I knew him beforehand anyway. We've ran into each other. I mean, I've done bits of acting and stuff, and he's always wanted to be famous. So I fell into him, bumped into him a few times, and there's also like I don't think he talks to me over something. I'm sure there was a woman in Las Vegas during the medical who tried to scam me. She was like crying in the hallway, and she was meant to be meeting her lover there, and I went, "Oh, you okay? You okay?" And then she went, "I just need the room to stay in for an hour or something." I was like, "Oh no, this is a scam. This is a scam." So Alex Reid came round the corner, and I went, "Oh yeah, listen, I'm busy. He'll help you." I went, "Alex, we help this girl out." And he walked over and went, "You're all right, darling." Put his arm around that. So I never seen him after that. But I was on Twitter then, but he blocked me on that. And then my missus was looking for like certain people, and she got blocked. And he might have got. I don't know if he got scammed by her or whatever. But yeah, listen, I was to be honest, every time we spoke or whatever, we've always got on. He was all right when he was there, but Dean Hammersinger was so excited to fight him because Dean Hammersinger, for two reasons, respect was one, because Dean grew up watching him thinking, "What? Who's this guy, the Reasonator?" And then finally, obviously, his perception changed on that, and they just wanted to beat him up. So that was good.
He got out of two good 3 triangle chokes in that fight to Dean Hammersinger as well, though, to get into the house. Yeah. And they were really tight.
It was like foreshadowing, wasn't it?
Was that Rob Browning like a dick just for the cameras, or was he a dick the whole time on the show? Well, that's what I wanted to ask you.
This is why, I'd love you to try and find him and tag him in this video because, that show damaged a lot of people, to be honest. And Rob Browning, after that, he only done that one night. He got in, they give him a beer, they told him to have a beer. The producers told him to have a beer. They told him, "You've got to act like this. You've got to act like your brother." That's what he said. And then the next day, we were in the living room area, See, they don't show any of this because it doesn't fit the narrative they're trying to show you. So, Rob Brown was crying to us. He was crying. He went, listen, we're from like Arkansas. He said, what else can I do? What else can I do? I said, my brother's known. This is what he said. He said, my brother's known for causing like havoc or something in the Ultimate Fight House, and that's what they want me to do. Otherwise, I'm nobody. He was crying about it. That wasn't really him. And now people must, even today, like 11 years is it? Later, people probably still give him serious shit over that. But he got told to do that because he came from a life where he felt he had nothing. He had no other choice but to be like that. So it was bullshit how they've pervaded him in that. And to be honest, he was a good guy. And before he left, he was really upset again and gave all us like a hug, all the people who were talking to him and that. And to be honest, he from what I seen, obviously I don't know him that well, but he ended up showing his true colours and he seemed like a good guy. The bit you see on the telly, bear in mind it's edited together, and they made him out to be like basically a little gobshite, but I'll use that because I like the word gobshite too, Stu. Yeah, but that's what he wears. He ended up being a nice guy, so they've just shown the wrong side of him. It's bullshit, to be honest.
Editing at its finest, like they do on all these shows.
It did make me laugh though when they cut to his little segment and it's like to him and he's like, "I like the Brits, yeah," and he's like, "Cheers," and he's like, "Another shrimp on the Barbie," and I'm like, "Huh? That's Australians, mate. That's Australians. We don't say that." But I get what you mean because his brother was on season 8, the season before you guys were on, so, and he was a tit.
Oh, I hated that season just with him being on it. He got on my nerves right the way through Junie. But he was there. That's what they're filtering stuff to him. Obviously, like you say, they're just filtering information. Do this, do that, aren't they?
Yeah, you guys are playing basketball and he starts throwing eggs. I'm assuming, obviously, they say then start throwing eggs at the UK lot while they're both playing basketball.
No problem.
I was going to ask you as well, because you mentioned about Jason Pierce. He said, like, because you guys, I remember just seeing you guys in the jacuzzi and chatting and stuff, and obviously he got a lot of hate, didn't he, supposedly from his side for speaking to the Brits too much. But it seems like you two seem to gel quite well. And he said, like, he said to his segment was, you'll be friends long after the show. Are you still friends, or?
Yeah, well,
you are?
We were friends before, you see. We were friends before. We went to all the medical together on a 5-day medical. So you're with the same team of people, the same group of fighters, and there's about 1,500 people on the medical when we went to Las Vegas. And he was with me all the time, and we just bounced off each other. He had quite English humour. He got my jokes, and he just loved it. And then I looked, because I didn't drink at the time, and I was looking out my hotel window, and he was drunk in the middle of a car, like kicking the front of a taxi. He's like, "Hey, man!" All these police turned up. So I ran out and I've pulled him in and give him a drink and whatever, like water. And we were friends since that. And we stayed in touch and we made jokes like it'd be funny if we ever got matched up together, which we did, which is strangely coincidental. But again, just a little behind the scenes tidbit. If you look when we're in the jacuzzi, that was after the show was well long gone, and they showed that quite early. If you look, we've got our legs out of the pool, and if you look on each of our legs, we've got a big lump on it. So we've actually got staff during that. That's when we were already out of the show by then. So it was against the way they edited it, and we were already out. We couldn't put our leg in the pool because couldn't contaminate it. So that was well, another thing as well at the time. We were still talking, and he was asking every day we made when we boiled the kettle. He was asking for a builder's brew because he learned that from us. He was having a tea with 2 sugars, tea milk, 2 sugars. So I sent him a box of tea bags, and the tea bags on it said, I've just got to fix my cap. The tea bags on the box, it said Builder's Brew. So I sent him, got his address, sent him. He loved it. Sent me a picture. He was only contacting each other through email, but at the time, it's my ex-wife now, probably for this reason. But he sent me a picture. She went dead weird. He sent me like a GIF. When you click it, it was like a nice message, but then it opens up and there's a big pair of tits on it. And she didn't even tell me. She's replied back to him as me, saying, "I don't want to see any of that," and blah, 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 blah. And he just stopped contacting me. So I'd love just that, and it wasn't me. So I'd love to get him back in contact with him. But again, see with that show, he owned his own building company. He was 32 at the time. I was only 28. He was the oldest one in there, and he had an 11-0 record in Michigan. Now they're all top wrestlers there. You've got 11-0 record in Michigan. You're a top fighter. He wasn't so much dangerous in the finish yet. He was a cardio machine, and he beat ex-UFC vet to get in. Well, with Jason as well, he again the narrative they followed with him is that he was like a spy, and it's not. Listen, that's not the truth. Listen, Jason Pierce got that whole American team because they all drew pictures of him one day and put them on the wall. Like Jason, basically they drew pictures, all stick men, of Jason blowing all us. That's what they done pictures of. And he was like, he went, listen, got them all in. He went, am I allowed to swear in the podcast? Because I can.
Go ahead.
You can swear like a trooper, Dave.
Well, listen, he brought them all in and he said, listen, you gang of young little fucking pussies. Jason Pierce got them in, got the whole American team, and called them a fucking gang of fucking young pussies. That's what he called them. He said, but he gave them serious shit, and he told them he was fucking in charge, and he said he hated every single one of them, and he done that, and he all sat there. No one stood up to him. Everyone shit them and just shit themselves, went back to the rooms. But they don't show any of that. They show him when he was sick. They show him when he was worried about how he'd be pervade, and that he was worried about his business at home. He mentioned to me a few times about his business. He went, hope it's getting run right in my absence. And what I heard is that due to the backlash of that show, his business went down the shitter. I hope it didn't. But that's what I heard.
The editing made him look quite like, obviously I didn't know him himself, and you do yourself, Dave, but they made him out to look like a pussy in the editing.
Exactly.
He didn't want to be there. Exactly. He didn't want to fight.
He's far from it. He's far from it. Honest God, it was just they used certain little segments. I mean, there was a bit, and I mean, people always get cobs on when you say who's tap to and stuff. But I'm mates with Andre Winner and Ross Pearson and that. Now Ross hurt his leg during the fight. This is what I'm saying. When there's nothing happening, there's nothing bad happening, they want to make a story out of something. So, I had Andre Winner in a Kimura. Just like I haven't finished there, just had him in a Kimura, and Ross Pearson hurt his leg, and he went straight over the cameras, right in with the cameras. So I knew straight away what they were going to do. I had it in my mind that they were going to put on this episode, Ross Pearson hurts leg. Is this the end of Team UK? That's what I expected to see. But I went, whoa! I said, fuck that. I said, I'm going to get a shit off Kimura. Come and watch this. So I knew the way it was going, but I just didn't know how bad it was. It's like watching an alternate reality, watching the show, because it's like that. It did happen, but it didn't happen, and it didn't happen in that order. And it didn't happen because of that. It's so weird. It's so weird. But yeah, what they done with Robbie? I was going to say Junie. Yeah, Robbie Brown and Jason Pierce. Fuck what people think about me. It doesn't even matter. It's in comparison to what happened to them. It's bad, man. It's heavy. Especially that's Jason. Tremendous. I really hope. Yeah, I really hope it, because they don't think about that. They don't think about this shit. They don't care. You see, they don't care.
Just going back to him, though, he knew that the business was, his mind really wasn't with what he was doing in the Ultimate Fighter, to me, from what you're saying. If he's worrying about his business, he wasn't focused on it, from a fighting aspect, surely. That's what I'd take away from what you were saying.
Yeah, it's right what you say, because he even said to me, I said, even after he told them off, or he was having little bits of arguments with people all the time, he was going, I don't have to deal with this shit. He said, I should be home running my business. He said, I don't need to fight. And he kept, that's what I'm saying, he said a few times about his record. He said, I've got 11-0 Michigan. I beat an ex-UFC fighter to get in the house. I don't need this anymore. I've got a business. He repeated that a few times, and it was true. So he was just getting sick of the monotony in the house. He was sick of that.
Chris?
I was going to say, you caused a few bits, didn't you, with the T-shirt at the beginning, and then Ross's wrestling boots. So it's betrayed from the editing.
Yeah.
You know, who wrote on my boot?
Yeah. Who wrote on my boots?
Who wrote on my boots?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, because I lent the boots. Yeah, because again, he don't tell you because I had that thing on my foot. I had no skin on my foot. Even the fight getting the house, I had no skin on my foot. That's why I couldn't strike or couldn't shoot or nothing. Yeah, but that's what they were trying. I mean, it's because they were Ross's own boots. That's all it was. He brought them into the house, so he had a cob on. And again, we sat them all down and we spoke to them like kids. And to be honest, I tell you, there was me. Basically, I was just a backup. I didn't even say a word. But Ross Pearson and Martin Stapleton, again, they got the whole American squad and went, listen, if anyone starts this shit, you're just going to get your head punched in. Basically, that's what they don't want to show that. They don't want to show any dominance like that. But a lot that was 2 instances like that. And a few other little minor ones. But they just, listen, Ross Pearson and Martin Stapleton. And I was just there, obviously, because I was involved. I didn't even say a word, but they just put it straight on them and went, listen, don't start all this shit. Don't fuck about with our sleep or nothing like that. I said, because we just smash your head in. I said, there'd be no show. It was very contrast of, basically, contrast, what would you say? Of just different ways of life. They obviously don't do that. Because even like small little, I don't want to digress, but even in the medical, Gary Kelly, there was a stormer. Gary Kelly was in the hotel and there was a little standoff with these Americans and they were just saying, hey man, I'll take you down and tap you out. I don't know how it started. And Gary was going, I'll punch your head in. And he's going, no man. But they were just, now here's where it changed because those American guys just wanted to have a bit of banter. But Gary, made from different cloth altogether, he wanted to fight. He was thinking, these fuckers give me shit. So they've started that and he went, listen, I'll bite your fucking nose off. That's what Gary said. He went, what? He said, no, and then I'll get the vase over there and I'll smash it over there. They go, whoa, man, we don't want any trouble. It was like, it's like that difference of culture. It just didn't. That's why we didn't have any problems in there, to be honest, because that happened quite early on the show.
He was unlucky, wasn't he, Gary Kelly? Because obviously he had Andre Winner, didn't he, in the bout to get to the house?
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously Andre Winner was on the high, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, the thing goes, well, it was one of them, how he got stopped as well. It was quite they were both being very cautious in the fights. And to be honest, I don't know how much you've seen of Gary, but they're quite very similar fights. They're very fast punches on the feet. They don't try and focus too much on the grappling, but they're not shy to it, and they're no pushovers in that department. The two of them are very similar, but it was just that little knee, wasn't it? That little knee popped up.
Yeah.
It was so accurate. It wasn't even like venomous. It was just accurate, and it was Here we go, back and back, because Gary. Like he really wanted it. He got told he was in, like I say, months prior. I only got 5 days notice, so it was a bit weird, man. Me being there and him not. It was just, I felt a little bit sick at first.
I was going to ask you that next. What is do you have a relationship with Mike Bisping now at all since then, or
no? I just I mean, if it now and again, like we have, people speak to him on stuff and like or said they spoke and they've mentioned me, and there's no bad words again. Because people always say about the show as well, say he said some bad things about you. I mean, he gets lost in translation. I mean, when he said, again, he said mentally, and he paused for a bit and said weak. I'm far from it, because what he doesn't tell people as well, he's, that's the difference again with people who are fighting the street and people who won't. He was, I remember he phoned me because he had a bit of road rage with these gypsies in a van, and he was at these services, and he was like, Dave, I've fronted it, but they haven't backed down. What you come and help me? Some stuff like that. I'd be the person he'd ring over that. Yeah. And but again, like when he got rated in Loaded in like the top 10 DILFs, and he got rated in it, so he wants to go to this party. But I hate shit like that. I'm not into that. I didn't drink or nothing. I was like, and I think that's what it was. And the fact like he'd be saying to me, "Have this fight, come and have this fight," and I weren't really interested that much in fighting. I wanted to be the world's greatest grappler, and I still wanted to be a pro wrestler. And I think that's what he met. He just didn't understand me with stuff like that. And but the other stuff, when he was getting a bit angry at me and all that, because he did was close to them. I trained them. I was one of the few still trained him when he was super fit for fights, because it was only a handful who still could, and he was close, and he did expect high things of me. So I understand that. So yeah, listen, there's no bad blood between us. I mean, I gave him a little bit of stick in 2010 on Twitter. I think that was the last physical interaction, but I mean, it was a pipe bomb. It was very good. It was a knockout blow, like. But yeah, I think. But even when people talk to me about him, or people mention me to him, it's always good. So I'd love to talk to him again. Just have a little. Have a convo with him.
I want to know more about this pipe bomb, Dave. You need to divulge.
Okay.
What did you say to him? What did you?
Okay, so yeah, okay. It's a bit harsh though. It's harsh. So it's some people like turn off the show when they hear this. But on Twitter, yeah, there was a guy called Tom Wolfpepper. It was a fake account, and he used to harass loads of MMA fighters, but he used to like a handful, and he liked me. So he tagged me in something. He was giving Bisping loads. So then he tagged me in it. I went, he said, Dave, I heard you're a bit of a supremo on the ground. You should be where Bisping is. That's what they wrote, something along that. I went, no. I played it down. I went, no, listen. Said, I'm more of a wrestler, me, mate. He said, but I said, what was it to say? I said, but Bisping wants it. That's what he wants to do. It's not my dream. So good luck to him. He said, but he's in movies, or something about movies, he said. And I said, because he was in that movie, if you remember, and he pulls a gun out. If you want to be a fighter, you're gonna need one of these. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but no. It was bad, like. So I said no. Anyway, so I want to be. I'm a top grappler. Blah 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 blah. I said, and Bisping should be where he is. I said, but I'll be in a shit movie like Bisping, like soon or something. I'll also be in a shit movie, but tagged him in it. So Bisping came back and he said, shit movies are better than no movies. So my reply was, that's like saying it's better to be raped than stay a virgin.
Okay. Bit ruthless, that.
Okay. So that was quite nice. Yeah, so that's why it's a bit hard.
I'm kind of regretting getting you to divulge on that one, Dave.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I take it you didn't get a reply after that then, no?
No, he did. It was a personal message. He went, Dave, how are you? Good. I went, yeah. He said, game. And then he said, one sec. Baba. All my kids coming to join me. And I said, yeah. He said, how are you? I said, good, yeah. He went, just come over and train with me. I said, okay, I'll send you my address and you can send the check. And he didn't reply.
Dave, I was going to ask you were saying about you watch boxing more so these days. Who are some of your favourite fighters to watch in modern boxing? I'll ask about the old school as well, but yeah, the modern boxers, who do you like watching?
Listen, I don't mean to sound like a smart ass, but I predicted that Andy Ruiz uprising years ago. And when he did beat Anthony Joshua, my friend who used to work on the Cavern with actually put a big post out about it and said, Dave told me about Andy Ruiz years ago. Because you spot stuff from early. Because like I say, I watched them. Something I've learned. Watched them from day one. And I mean, because there was Conor Benn. I love that style. I absolutely love it. And young John Quigley again, because I watch all the homegrown fighters. He's so exciting. If you never watch young John, man, he doesn't even put his hands up. He's just so flashy. I think that's why they didn't have him in the England squad, because of his style doesn't suit their criteria. But all them Quigley lads, honest God, so every one of them are so concussive. It's unreal. But it's like there's a few fighters who should be boxing today who just sadly who weren't through injuries or whatever. I mean, there was a guy a few years back called Roman Greenberg. I think he was from Israel. He was fantastic heavyweight, and I think he lost an upset fight, and he just couldn't bring himself back. But yeah, I think because again, I'm excited to see the Andy Ruiz, the resurgence, because he's lost some weight and stuff. But I thought he might end up going. Why doesn't he go and be a cruiserweight now? Because he could. Because it was just excess weight, and if he can stop heavyweight, he could fly through. I know it's not the commercially more accepted weight division, but I'm excited to see him come back. I think he could be. I know he's very clever, Mr. Fury, but I think he could be the one who would give Fury problems, because when he got dropped in that training video, it was against someone who was about a foot smaller, and who was the black guy from America who dropped him a few years back with an overhand right.
Steve Cunningham, wasn't it? In Madison Square Garden, in the theatre, the smaller venue.
Yeah.
And he was a cruiser.
Yeah, and that I think it's that height that's Tyson Fury's Achilles heel. Not these other tall fighters. I think that's his forte. Yeah, it's these smaller, more compact, like a David Tua now. Like if a David Tua was about now, I think he'd give him a few problems. Like, so yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
What about old school guys, old school boxers? When you were growing up watching it, it was some of the ones that you like to watch.
There's loads. I mean, there's people I didn't. I mean, do you remember there was a British fighter, Scott Welch, who was coming up? He was actually the last boss in Snatch. He was. I remember watching him, and then he won the British. I mean, there's people. I mean, I can mention all the obvious ones, but there's people I remember fondly. I mean, I used to follow Tommy Morrison's career for years because I just weren't used to seeing it again. It's just again, I know it's like in the PC age, but it was just weird amongst every champion was a black fighter, and it was weird the contrast of seeing him there. He was like some country boy with his blonde curly hair. It was like surreal, and like his fight with Razor Ruddock is one of my favourites because I thought he was going to lose that, and he hit him with the best left hook I've ever seen. Loads. I even it's like I even had fighters like local. I was like Herbie Hyde when he first started. I really thought he was going to be something else, Herbie Hyde. But then when he stood next to Riddick Bowe just dwarfed him. He just looked like a child, didn't he? So listen, there wasn't a single fighter I didn't watch from these shows intently. But yeah, I've got like fond memories of loads. But yeah, listen, Tyson was my all-round favourite. I thought David Tua was going to be another Tyson at one point, and yeah, even Shannon Briggs. I was excited when he first came onto the scene. He again just looked the part, didn't he? But I wish he was like the way he is now. Back then, it would have been very
loud, very loud.
Yeah.
Let's go, champ.
Let's go, champ. I love it. Yeah.
Let's go, champ.
Chris,
am I reading right now, Dave? But were you a bodyguard for Idris Elba?
Yeah, it was not a bodyguard. I was doing bodyguard. I mean, just a one-off. I was doing I was getting bodyguard jobs. I never had the bodyguard license. I only had the door license. Shh. But I just get offered stuff. I mean, it's like they'd ask for certain things, like, can you get me some extra security? I'd like them to be this, because I was actually looked after Kurt Angle when he was over here with TNA. I think it was 2005 or 6, because he made a joke. I got the job through a joke. He went, I'd like another Olympic wrestler, he said, to bodyguard me, and laughed. And I went, well, actually. And so, yeah, I talked to him. I was talking to him about a possible Chuck Liddell fight as well back then. That was that was good inside information. But yeah, Idris Elba, yeah, I had to, he had a bodyguard with him. Some big fat guy, about 7 foot tall. He was doing a DJ spot in the Shipping Forecast on Slater Street. And he had a bodyguard next to him. And I'm like the tiniest, probably drum in the city, like height-wise. I'm wider than I am tall, to be honest. So I was with my other mate, who's a catch wrestler, Terry Aburn. He was working alongside me. So I'm standing next to the DJ box, and Idris Elba's bodyguard leaned on me head and went, "Have you come to protect Mr. Elba?" And I grabbed him by his fat man boob, And I grabbed him because I do arm wrestling as well. I've got good grips, and I gripped him dead hard and went, "I'll do a better job than you fuck prick." And he was like, probably started screaming like a woman. No need, man, no need. So I was like, I thought I was going to be a ball like him. But then when we went upstairs, they're all like that with spliffs inside this building, and I was getting paid through my company, and my company was getting paid off this building. So if they lose their insurance, do people smoking pot? So I went, do us a favour, Mr. Elbeck, can you put the spliff out, please? And he was like, because I don't get starstruck or nothing like that. It just makes no sense to me, that shit. So he went, yeah, and his bodyguard went to pipe up again. And I said something ridiculous. It was probably like cutting a pro wrestling promo, like, put your dog on a lead before I put him down. Something along them lines, some bullshit like that. But he settled him and went, yeah, no problem. So that was it. We didn't really get to talk to him about being in Thor or nothing. Gutted.
He was. I watched it a few years ago now, Idris Elba. He was learning to be a kickboxer again. I don't know if you ever caught that. And he had one fight in the end.
Oh, did he? How did that go? Yeah. I didn't see
it. He won it at the end, but I don't know if it was edited because he looked like he was getting pieced up. And all of a sudden, he turned it round and he won the fight. And I was like, that's interesting. You don't normally see that in a real fight. But...
No, listen, you'd be surprised. Stewie knows what I mean by worked. You'd be surprised how many fights are like worked. Like in the top fight organisations, it goes across. It's happened for years, so don't be surprised. So stuff like that when it's a celeb on his own show. I mean, give him going back to Alex Lee, give him his due. He fought Tom Kong Watson, didn't he? And he did have a genuine fight with him. What was that?
He took him all the way to the decision, didn't he?
Yeah, and listen. That Tom Kong Watson doesn't fall for it. He's just a straight shooter. He went out there to make him look good. Even if they offered him money, he would have said no. He was just out there to win fights. Do you know what I mean? So
do the job he's paid to do. Like
it's a shame in the UFC for Tom Kong Watson because I watched him through Bantamweight, and when he came up to UFC, I thought middleweight he would have done a decent job, but I mean at that point middleweight had all the good young up and comers at that point when he joined. Obviously, he fell through the trap.
I mean, I've reiterated this a few times. I've done it without making a stammer as well. I think with the thing with our British fighters, I think there's a big focus on Thai and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and anyone will tell you they don't really mix. The thing you need in the UFC and boxing is supreme footwork. And you don't get supreme footwork through BJJ and Thai. You need top level Division 1 wrestling, Division 1 wrestlers to train with or to learn off a Division 1 wrestling coach. Because footwork is dynamic and freestyle. And boxing, dependent which type of coaches you go to. But you need dynamic footwork. You need to be a ring general. That's the one thing I think that's letting loads of our British fighters down. And probably Eastern Bloc fighters. Because that's just... We just get told what to do. But like I said, when I was injured, I took a step back and changed everything I'd done before I made a comeback. And it was definitely the right thing to do. Just made life a hell of a lot easier, to be honest.
Going back to Kurt Angle, I would have loved to have seen him in the cage. I know the neck issues and all that. I know he won the goal. I know he won the goal with the broken neck as well. But that was one guy I wanted to see. We were only talking about him on the special, which drops on Friday, weren't we, Chris? He was looking to do Tough 10, wasn't he, Chris?
Yeah, he got and did his tryouts and went for the medical like you guys would have done. And obviously they found that problem with his neck, and Dana went, no, sorry.
Yeah,
but he was going in.
Yeah, when I was like, look, it sounds weird looking after him. When I was looking after him when TNA were over here, he was. I was talking to him about it because he'd lost a lot of weight. He went, so is it true that you're fighting? And he even said to me, is that because I've gone little off the gas? Because they call steroids gas, don't they? So I didn't know that. I learned that then. So I was a bit confused at first. And I just said, yeah. And he said, no, the reason I'm off that, I'm getting a neck operation to get it fixed for a possible future fight. So that's during the time when he was rumours it was him him and Chuck Liddell were going to have it. So
that's been an interesting fight for Kurt Angle. That if he couldn't take Chuck Liddell down.
yeah, I know. That would have been. Oh yeah.
He
would have made. He would have made 205, definitely. He couldn't have been, I think he would have been quite comfortable as a light heavyweight, Kurt.
He would. Supposedly he's unnaturally strong as well, supposedly. This is what I've heard. He was unbelievably strong as well. So, yeah, I mean, you can't go to them heavier divisions if you've got that natural strength. So it does really, it does. People never talk about strength per se. It's always speed and power, but when it comes to grappling as well, you can get away. Even a supreme grappler you're twice the strength of him. You can usually control him. So, yeah, I think he would have done something special.
How about other guys crossing over? Forget Lesnar for a minute. Jake Hager's at Bellator, Bobby Lashley doing it. I'm trying to think. Chris will know more. I know Batista only did it at a regional level. What did you think of them guys?
He gassed hard, didn't he?
What do you think of that when these guys come over to go and do MMA?
Good. I mean, apart from CM Punk, I think because I think what it is with CM Punk, I don't mind. I'm in and out. Sometimes I like him, sometimes I don't. But I just think he's just a very serious sociopath. I think that's what it is. He just totally believes him. He just believes he is the best at everything. I think that's his issue. But with all of the people who've gone into it, but Batista, I don't know if he had a background. Bobby Lashley was a top end wrestler. So I mean, and Lesnar was already a top end wrestler, and Hagar was again. They're all wrestlers. They never come from. Again, you never get a Mark Merrow because he was a top boxer. They're always top wrestlers, but it does hold them in good stead. Though that's it's good foundation. I think boxing and freestyle wrestling are the best foundations to start with. Because I think, in my experience, when I've trained people, if they've already had freestyle wrestling or they had boxing, they're so easy to put the additions on. But they've always done well, because I know Lesnar's done, Bobby Lashley's done really well, didn't he? And again, he's saying it's only a certain level, but it's just, you can just see it. You can see the physicality, the anatomy of it. He's a freak of nature as well. So I love it. I love seeing it. And I don't like it when people say they don't belong there, because some of the people who were in the UFC when Brock Lesnar came over hadn't done freestyle wrestling as long as Brock Lesnar had done it. So that's what I'm saying, it makes no sense.
I think the Steiners would have done well. I know that Michigan link again. I think Rick and Scott. I know they went into pro wrestling, but I think they would have done well in mixed martial arts and the wrestling background, 100%. Just thinking of guys who didn't go into it professionally. Yeah, brilliant.
And I don't know if you know, Roddy Piper was an established freestyle wrestler as well, because him and Ric Flair used to do little spots, didn't he, on the show, and do little refs position, legit wrestling. And people didn't really buy into it, but I did when I watched it.
Chris?
I keep getting wrong, sorry.
No, you're all right.
Fine. I did have a question, and now it's completely gone up my head.
It's because I've segued into the wrestling.
And I was going to ask you, obviously, are you well known with Paddy Pimblett and going into the UFC, and what your thoughts on how he's going to fare?
Oh, I don't know. To be honest, I don't think very well. I don't think he'll. I mean, to be honest, I'm not being personal, because he said something derogatory aimed at me. So, but I've spoke to him. I've sent him a message privately about that. So I let him deal with that however he wants. But yeah, I don't know what it is with the UFC now. I think it's just. I mean, I made up for Paul, because it's his gym. Paul Rimmer getting someone else in the UFC. He's just lost a few fighters. It's never good, even if it's for whatever reason. It doesn't really matter. But I made up for him. But it's just, again, it's like the negative, people, kids are going to watch and possibly emulate and look up to. I've never been a fan of that. But again, it's just having a game full of holes again. If you've got a game full of holes, you do get exposed in the UFC. It happens.
Yeah. So me and Stu spoke about him. I said to you, I didn't think he's going to fare well.
people are saying to me, like, you know, I just think, why has he not left Cage Warriors? He was there for years.
He turned it down.
He turned it down.
They offered him before.
I don't see it, but I'm a fan. You know what I mean, Dave? You do it. Yeah. You know the score. I'm looking at it from a fan's perspective. I've never thought he was that any good personally. Definitely not UFC level. No. He might prove me wrong. Like, you know,
but he's going into a featherweight division, which is, you know, strong as hell. Yeah, did you see Paddy beating back of Max Holloway? No, you know what I mean.
It's like, right. I mean, he'll have it. To be honest, right? He's got. Not out in the streets, but when it's professional fighting, he's got balls of steel for professional fighting only.
Yeah, of course.
So he will fight anyone, and he'll love it, and he'll be entertaining for certain people while he's there. But it's just, as long as he goes in, if he goes in and thinks I could earn a bit of dough here, like I could be, if I get a good fight, I could probably get a bit of a career as like then retire after like being like a bit of a gatekeeper or something. No, if he's a bit clever, but I don't think he thinks like that. And because that's how the UFC works. People have their own place. They do have gatekeepers. They have cannon fodder. They have people who are potentials and that. I think if he, I mean, because he'll have it. Even if he's not, I know he's not a great striker by any standard, but I think if he has it with someone on the feet, because he'll take a shot. He's not scared and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. It surprised me. It surprised me because. I don't know. Did he come off a win or come off a loss? Or, I don't know.
He's just come off a win last couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
No.
His last fight, obviously, in Cage Warriors. I think he's like 16-3 now.
But again, I don't know what people tell you about Cage Warriors, but the money is not fantastic. They offer you it's not a great ticket deal. They offer you a ticket deal, but the money isn't great. I've spoke to people. The money is not great. I mean, I fought on it in 2007 when it was not like obviously well established, but I've heard it's like it's not that much, to be honest. It's like it's not stuff you can live on. But again, if you've got a good fan following, I mean, Paddy in Liverpool has got a good fan following. But again, it's a fan following that underbelly of them Ketwigs and that, isn't it? It's them type, all them kids who ride and scramblers around the street and think, oh, one of our lads are in there. And then they think, oh, let's watch him. He don't even know anything about fighting, but he does sell money to that clientele. So that's why I think Paddy saved Cage Warriors, to be honest. But yeah, in regards to just strict skill level, I don't know what he's doing there, to be honest.
Lewis Young's got a question here. Sorry, Chris, I jumped in.
No, go.
Dave, when did you start wrestling? Yeah. That's what Lewis wants to know. Lewis watches us every week.
1991. At the age of 11.
That's
madness.
You were young. You were very young, mate.
Yeah, I was. I used to go to the Kirby Sports Centre, and they used to go for a legger. A legger just means go and upset adults and get chased by them. But I used to just go in there and play the arcade. They had 4 arcade machines, so I used to just play them. And then somebody came out. One of my mates came out and went, Dave, these fellas are kissing and cuddling in here. And I went, what? So we all walked in to the room, and it was like I walked into me destiny. It was like slow motion. I was like, oh, it just looked like all these gods clashing, and the drips of sweat with it on the floor slow. It's like everything. I just walked in, and but reality hit because I walked in, and there was an Iranian wrestler there called Manuch, and I walked in. They all stopped wrestling, turned to me, and I stood there proud, and I said. I said, can I have a go? And this Manuch said, he said, fuck off, fatty, before I fuck your ass.
It sounds like Sheiky, baby. Sounds like Sheiky, baby.
Definitely his cousin. But he's just, I mean, it must be a thing with them, but yeah, I left. I was like, all my mates were laughing at me, but I just kept coming back in each week and going, I really want to go. And they'd sit me in the corner and let me watch. And then after about 6 weeks, they let me have a go, and that was it. Never looked back.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Good question, that Lewis. No, thank you, Matt. Dave,
Lewis.
Where can the viewers find you in terms of social media? And anything you got coming up before we go?
Oh, well, we're starting with me and Jay Apter have started Superstar Pro Wrestling. If you search for Superstar Pro, but listen, I'm easy to just catch. Just search me. I've got full title, David Faulkner, on any of my social media. My Twitter and my Instagram is being run by our admin. But if you want to actually talk directly to me, just get me on Facebook. Or if someone knows me, they'll have my phone number. It's quite easy. But yeah, Facebook, David Faulkner. Usually the first one that pops up. Anyone wants to ask me anything, I'll talk to them. Not an issue. But with the guys, what's coming up? What's coming up is me and Jay Apter again starting Superstar Pro. We're opening a wrestling school in Wigan called Claw. I'm also going to open Faulkner Free Fight alongside it, which is a bit of catch wrestling / MMA / K1. And we're looking to open a place in Liverpool, another Claw, which will possibly be MMA as well. And I've got a pancrase show called Jigoku. I've already ran 4 shows of it, and a lot of the pro wrestlers have been jumping on it and having legit fights. So it's been really interesting. It's catching fire, and that's got a lot of legit grappling matches on it as well. So we've got that, but we're also doing Triumph MMA. We're actually trying to do a Liverpool-based MMA show. That's we're trying to build up over time, and it's going to be basically to help springboard Liverpool-based fighters in their gyms. We're going to try and get good paydays from day one and extremely good ticket deals because we're not being greedy about it. There we go.
I bet you've been chomping at the bit to run all this. I bet you can't wait. I'm not really with the running stuff off. Jay Apter's great with remembering all the bits. Kieran Moran, who's working alongside us, is great with it. But yeah, I'm in the back. I'm like one of the cogs. I'm like a bit of the engine. I'm just keeping things running and getting things moving. So I'm not, and I do again most of the interviews like this. But usually I'm with Jay, and I'll just tag Jay in, and Jay will just run off all the social media with his sexy radio voice that he's adapted lately. Where he goes, "Yeah, we have 4, and we've got Triumph MMA." That's what he's like. Dave, thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you for coming on.
Man. Enjoyed it.
Yeah,
we're going to have you back on. So yeah, Ultimate Fighter alumni, pro wrestler, actor. Have I done you a disservice there? I probably missed something off.
Arm wrestler.
Yeah, bodyguard. Our guest today, Dave Faulkner. Thanks very much, man. Coming on big.
Cheers, thank you, Dave.
Catch the crossover special at 7 p.m. on Friday. We'll be talking about MMA guys going into wrestling and vice versa. So yeah, look out for that. And that's with Justin Clapper from Wrestling Travel, and the head honcho, one of the head honchos from Powered 4, John Scott, joins me and Chris on that. So you get to see that on Friday evening. Thank you very much.
Take it easy.
From the examination of the galaxies of space, images begin to appear. Images of strange and powerful forces. But of all the forces in the universe, the 2 most powerful, John Scott and SP3, prepare to explode. Champion versus champion. Legend versus legend. It's the ultimate challenge. It's WrestleMania!